Hello, welcome to the weekly outlook in the DeFi Dojo. Today is, let's see, what's today? March 9th. So far, and as long as this continues heading downward and breaks this trend here for Bitcoin, so far I've called the top of the last cycle, the bottom of the current cycle, and now it looks like I have been able to exit at the top of this cycle as well. So congratulations if you've been following me for years. You will have experienced that with me. It's not always something that you can do because we don't always get this divergence here, like you can clearly see with this orange line. But we've had that now on the last three tops and bottoms. So here is the top of that cycle showing us, right, divergence. Here is the bottom of our current cycle showing us clear divergence. And I got to shrink that a little bit, but that is definitely trending up. And I'll zoom in on that just so you can see, right? RSI is going up, price is going down, price is going up, RSI is going down, price is going up, RSI is going down. So it's a really simple way to nail macro tops and bottoms. And it only works on the weekly chart. So if you're just brand new to this, never heard of it before, go ahead and Google search bearish divergence, and it will help you see bottoms and tops of not just Bitcoin, but pretty much all major markets. Now, is it going to work for like meme coins and penny stocks? It can. But typically when you see those, you got to use lower time frames. And then when you're into lower time frames, it doesn't work as well. And so I typically shy away from trying to use it in those arenas. But for your major things like Bitcoin, Ethereum, total market cap, I mean, it's everywhere, rising prices, lowering momentum. And if you're not familiar with the RSI or the MACD, these are momentum indicators. They give you a little bit of help in showing you how much momentum is in the market. Is the momentum bullish? Is the momentum bearish, right? We do have a clear level here at the 886 that we're holding for the last 2 weeks. But with this big bearish candle that we've just got this week, I don't see this turning into anything good. We are potentially going to cross the 8 EMA now on the monthly chart, and we have not been below the monthly 8 EMA very often. When we have in the past, it's clearly come back up and recovered it. If you don't know what the 8 EMA is, it is the 8 exponential moving average, and it is my orange squiggly line here. And you can see that we've gone below it, but it closed the candles each time above it. So we are now, falling below the 8 EMA again. And we still have like 21 days before this monthly candle closes. So, for all purposes, we may still bounce and stay above it. I don't know. We still have 3 weeks for that. But it's not a good sign to see these divergences happening. And so on the weekly chart, however, we want to pay attention to candles that give us bearish signals, right? So on top of this divergence that we are clearly seeing that I just showed you, we are also seeing a very bearish candle here where it opened above the 8 and the 21 EMA, and they were bullish at the time where the 8 is over the 21. That is a bullish set of EMAs. A bearish set of EMAs looks like this, where the 8 is below the 21, right? And so it opened above both and closed below both. That is a bearish signal. It's a very bearish move, and it is usually the first thing you see when you start a bear market. You get these big bearish candles. The first thing you see when a bull market starts is the opposite. So here's that example. We started below the EMAs, which were bearish, right? And then closed above both of them. That was the first sign. Now, notice what happened afterwards. We got like a pullback, right? And it actually closed below both EMAs again, but luckily we stayed over that mark there, which helped us see that it didn't close below the 382. And then you get another big bullish move, and then boom, we start this bull market. And now we're starting to see the opposite, right? We're starting to see big bearish candles come in, bearish candles come in. As soon as you see that one, then yeah, okay, we have a chance to continue higher, right? Like we have this one here that kicked off this move upwards. So for the time being, that absolutely could happen. We could get a full reversal this week, and it closes back above both of them and just invalidates that bearish candle. But there's nothing that says that has to happen, and I have to take it for what it's worth. And right now, what it's worth is it's very bearish, coupled with the bearish divergence that has marked tops and bottoms countless times. I can't ignore that, and I'm very happy with where I sold way up here several weeks ago. So with that said, there is still room down to this main trend line on the Bitcoin spot chart. But if we look at the CME, wait, why is this the same chart? I thought it was on the CME. Okay, so again, this is a good example of how trend lines are subjective, right? Like I can move this trend line wherever I want, and like if I just go with those wicks there, yeah, there's still room down. If you just go with like the bottom here instead, then you can also see there's still room below. So we haven't broken trend yet, but those EMAs are definitely pointing down. They're about to cross, and pending a huge recovery this week back over those EMAs, they will likely cross bearish, and that will be the nail in the coffin for me. Once these Bitcoin EMAs cross bearish, where the 8 crosses below the 21, that to me is telling me that it's over, and this was the absolute top. What would it take for me to get back into crypto? A whole heck of a lot. It would take breaking this downtrend first, right? And then I would maybe start thinking about it. But really, I want to see a break and close back over that 1036 level. And if I see that, sure, I'll take it for the ride up to 130, get out, take my profits, call it a cool almost 30%, and that'd be it for me. But that's really it. Other than that, I'm looking to actually go into bear market mode. I want to start shorting. Do I wish I would have started shorting already? Yeah, but I wouldn't have held it for very long. I was able to take some really good scalps on shorting equities last week and the week before, and so I'm pretty happy with that. I think I made like 200% on my overall portfolio, which isn't my huge portfolio. It's my trading portfolio, so it's not big. But I was able to sell out of ES and NQ and all of the companies that are involved in it, all up in this area over the last several months. And you've seen me with those sells that I've been doing in the long-term investments channel. And we bought all of that stuff down here in October of 2022. So I've done very well. I am not complaining by any means. Do I wish crypto went higher? Absolutely. I think we all do. But you know, I can't complain about 16K to 100K. Like I can't complain about that. So that's a hell of a return in a couple years. It's better than most assets do, and altcoins never got off the ground. And if we look at how altcoins are doing against Bitcoin, and so that's total 3 divided by Bitcoin, and I've taken out USDT because we don't really care about that market when we're considering how altcoins are doing. But we closed another candle back below the 0.5, and if you zoom in, these EMAs are absolutely bearish, right? So the 8 crossed below, this was basically the retest, and now we get a big fat red candle back down again. So in order for altcoins to be anywhere near bullish again, we have to break back up over and invalidate that red candle now. It's starting to cross into bearish territories on the MACD and the RSI now. They're not quite there yet, so I'm not really looking at shorting anything yet in the altcoin market until that shows me it's going to break below this trend line. And this is the only real thing that's showing me that we could have an alt season still. But it's been going on since January of 2023, or no, June of 2023. So almost a full year now of this downward price action with upward action on the RSI. So since it's been going on that long, I'm not like jumping up and down ready to buy every dip right now. This could absolutely just keep going. Typically when you break a 0.5, you see the golden pocket anyway. So I'm still waiting to see if we get that. If anything, maybe try to buy some things right around this 618 level, but it's still really risky because odds are it's going to peak down into the golden pocket itself when it does that. If we look at total market cap, bearish divergence, bearish divergence. If we look at USDT dominance, which this is stable coin dominance, so it's kind of an inverse of crypto. When this goes up, crypto goes down. When this goes down, crypto goes up. there is a big downtrend line that we are approaching. We've yet to touch it. So I do expect to see some form of relief in the markets when we tap that line. And I did mention some things in the weekly outlook channel already on like a trade plan, maybe if you wanted to attempt it for ETH at your own risk, of course. But basically what that looks like is we would tap that line, get some relief, maybe find support here at the 236, and then start bouncing up and breaking the downtrend. Why do I think we're going to break the downtrend? Because there is clear bullish divergence on this chart. We have downward price action on a weekly time frame with upward RSI and MACD price action. This is bullishly divergent, and by all means, I definitely think that downtrend is going to break. I think it's going to give us some relief and reject it the first time it touches it, but then I think it'll collect itself somewhere around this vicinity here, and then finally make the break and head us into the full-blown bear market. In order for that to be invalidated, we would need to break down below here first, and then we would need to get down below the now bullish weekly EMAs, right? So according to stablecoin dominance, crypto is already bearish on the weekly. Now, Bitcoin doesn't show it because it's the strongest asset, but if you look at any other altcoin in the market, aside from maybe a few new things, they are all bearish on the weekly and look very, very bad. These are not things that I want to be buying. I am no longer in buy the dip season. I think I took my profits at the top, and I'm pretty confident about that. I give it about an 80 to an 85% chance that we have already topped this market. There is still that 10 to 15% chance where I could be wrong. And in order for that to happen, in order for me to be wrong, like I said, we need a big recovery back up over the EMAs, break this downtrend right here on Bitcoin at the very least, and then get up over this 1036 mark. That's a lot to ask for in a short period of time. Not that it can't happen. You can see how quickly price action went from this 69,000 level, which was our previous all-time high. But, you know, just to show you that. But price moved very quickly from here to here. So on the way down, it can move just as quickly from here all the way back down to there. And so that's going to be the main support. If that touches, that means our downtrend, that means our uptrend broke, right? And everything so far has broken its uptrend. Equities have broken its uptrend. If you take it from here to here, right? Big rising wedge pattern breaking down. If you look at the NASDAQ, it just broke its entire uptrend from when we bought and saw the bullish divergence down here. And I'll point that out for you just so you can see another example of it. That is downward price action with upward RSI. And that is what allowed me to see the bottom of this market, and that's what allowed me to start buying all of big tech right around this area. Now I'm seeing the opposite. Now I'm seeing very clear bearish divergence with very clear upward price action. Again, we're breaking trend. This is not good. I do think that we could get some relief soon. What would that look like? Well, we would come back up and retest these bearishly. So usually when you break below, markets will typically bounce back up to retest just to confirm, like, hey, are you sure we're done? Like, is it over? Let's go test this area real quick. And then it rejects, and that's your confirmation that it's starting. And then that's when I'm going to start heavily going like mid to longer term on the shorts. What does that look like in equities? That's puts on SPY, puts on QQQ, puts on NVIDIA, Tesla, all the big guys that have ran up hundreds of % over the last few years. They're going to revert back to the mean, and typically that's either a 236 or a 382 mean reversion at the minimum. And if we break those levels, then we're in for an extended bear market. And so I'll definitely keep you updated on that in the chats and in the channels as that progresses. In the meantime, right now it's a little boring, right? Like it's just been sideways for a while, and that's typically what you can expect in a transitioning market. And that's what we're having right now. It's transitioning from being bullish to bearish, and how long that takes is anybody's guess. It could take the remainder of the year. We could just continue sideways for a while as it finishes its distribution and then makes the turn down. If it progresses quickly, then we could see some sort of V-shaped downturn. I don't think we're going to get that, though. I think the powers that be need time to exit their positions, and that's just how it works. If we look at ES, we've broken down below the 1.618 again. These EMAs also are about to turn bearish. So this week's a big week for everything. If we don't get a huge recovery back up over these EMAs on the S&P, if we don't get a huge recovery on the NASDAQ back up above the trend that it broke down below, and the EMAs here as well, Bitcoin needs a huge recovery as well. Ethereum, like, forget about it. It's the ugliest thing I've ever seen. It broke its entire trend. So this is what I mean when I won't be surprised if Bitcoin breaks this trend, because everything else already has. ETH broke its trend, NASDAQ, S&P, everything's broken its trend. There's bearish divergence everywhere. There's bullish divergence on USDT dominance. So, I mean, I'm about 90% sure. Like, I'm talking to myself, and as I'm talking to myself, I'm like, yeah, this is just, it's no brainer to me that this is it. It's pretty much over. That doesn't mean we're not going to get some big relief bounces, but I don't think they're going to materialize into higher highs on any of these markets. We've tapped out, in my opinion. So if you want to follow along and you want to keep updated on where it's good times to short, I'm going to show you what I'm doing. I'm not going to tell you what to do. I don't do financial advice, at least not yet. I'm working on that as well. So, but we're going to be doing well. I love bear markets. I make a lot of money in bear markets, and it's because things move quickly. In a bull market, things are like stair step up, right? In a bear market, things just elevator down. And it provides a lot of good opportunities to short, get in, get out, make a lot of money, and then sit in cash again until the next opportunity comes. Once we see bullish divergence forming on the higher time frames on all these markets, we'll be loading up again and repeating. We got the end of the 18-year housing market cycle coming. 2026 is when that mark is, 16 years, or 18 years from 2008. So that is a very typical market cycle. And I think we're starting to see the beginning of that right now. All right, so I think I've covered everything. Let's see. So yeah. Oh, the dollar. Dollar's coming down with everything else. And typically that is the first thing you see when a bear market starts as well. In a bull market, you see the dollar going down while risk assets go up, right? That's normally what you see. But that's not happening. We're seeing it all going down at the same time. I think this will continue ping-ponging around the 0.5, but it is an uptrend, and maybe it needs to come test that trend, which would be somewhere around here before it tries to make the move above the 0.5. But eventually I think we see somewhere around 120 to 128 again on the dollar, and that's long term. So let's see. Yeah, I think I covered everything. So I'm sorry I don't have great news. It's kind of bad news if you're a bull, but it still doesn't look great. I've been saying this for months, and I'm sorry. Any questions, chart requests, comments about anything that I've covered? You can ask me technical analysis questions, anything you want. But if you're not subscribed to my YouTube channel, please click the link below. Subscribe, like, all those things. If you want to get into the Discord, those links are below as well. And I'd love to have and see you in the community. We got some typing. Let's see what we got. Tesla, I suppose, as they're getting hit globally. Yes, let's look at Tesla. So we'll use that chart. Keep going down, 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 right here. We'll turn that off. Okay, well, it looks like it was able to recover enough. I mean, we're probably going to get a bounce this week. So that's the downtrend retest right there, and the 0.5. And so this is looking really nice for a weekly long scalp for me. I'm probably going to enter like 280. I'll just meet it halfway in between these two fibs. You can see there's a level of support right there. So it wouldn't surprise me to see 280 this week. Let's see, like right around probably this level here. No, I mean that's 300. So if we just bring it down one notch, yeah, there's 280. Okay. So yeah, I would say somewhere around 280 would be the resistance to see, and so I wouldn't mind taking like a 280 call this week and then using this as my invalidation if we fall below. But I'd love to try to get it on the actual touch of that trend line. So if Monday opens red, as close to that trend line as I can, 250, 245, it'd be great to see it there. I don't know where we're at pre-market right now. I know that there's like overnight trading. Let's see where it's sitting. Yeah, so right now it's at 257. It just gapped down on overnight trading. So it definitely could come down here and then give a good bounce back up. And then I'd use that trend line as my stop loss. Sometimes the pivots will show you something. Not here. So 245. Yeah, that would be a great spot. See where that pivot lines up with my trend line really well. So right now we're sitting around 257, it says. So right around here. And then once you get this far away from the EMAs, like look how far away that 8 EMA is. Usually you get some sort of relief like that candle, right? But you got to be quick, and you got to try to get in as close to this support as possible. If it lets you, sometimes it happens pre-market and you can't get the option you want. And if that happens and it's already bounced really high beforehand, maybe it's just not worth it. So just an idea. Can you explain more about the housing cycle? Absolutely. I'm glad you asked. So I have this nifty chart over here where I've mapped out every 18 years since the Great Depression, right? And every time you get a move to the down, oops, I just moved the whole chart. You get some sort of move to the downside for at least a year, right? Sometimes it's fairly large, sometimes it's fairly small. So all these red lines are when those 18-year cycles happened, and I'm showing you the S&P 500 of when that happens. And keep in mind, this is a monthly chart, so every candle is a month. And you can see clearly that after that cycle hits, boom, we head down for months. Sometimes it's only 7 to 8 months. Sometimes it's for a very long time, right? And it's major. This was 1974. This was 1990. See, it was very minor here. But still, even in the minor ones, the correction from top to bottom is 20%, right? So that's still pretty decent. That's when a lot of the riskier stuff falls 50%, and that gives good opportunities for buying. And then you have the 2008, where from top to bottom we fell 57%, and then now we're approaching where we are now. That would be 2026. And so it could already be starting. Whether it's starting a little early, I don't know. It could be due to COVID and inflation and rising prices and people not being able to buy houses anymore. It could absolutely start early. Or we could get something like this where it kind of comes down, hits 21 EMA, right? And then kind of bounces back up again, gives us like a double top. Maybe it makes a higher high. I don't know. But eventually I expect to come back down to this all-time trend line. And that's where I want to scoop up as much as possible. You can see that over the last, let's call it, how many years is that? Almost 100. Every time we get close to this white line, it is the best buying opportunity. And you can see how far away we are from that, right? So whenever we're that high above, we can get these major crashes. And I'm really hoping we get it. Like, I'm hoping it absolutely just gets destroyed. And I can take advantage of buying on that trend line for the next 20 years and wait for the next 18-year housing market cycle. We'll have to see. We have to kind of take it week, month at a time on how far we're coming down. And then obviously if I spot bullish divergence somewhere halfway down or a quarter of the way down, and there's bullish divergence on the chart, well then, yeah, okay, let's get back in. So in the meantime, this looks like an absolute top to me. Even on the monthly, it's very divergent. That's definitely heading down. This is heading up. So it's no question in my mind that we're going to start heading down here in the next year. Could start as early as right now. Could be 8-9 months from now. But 2026, I definitely think is going to be a red year. And how this year ends up shaping out could just be sideways, but also could be red. I give it a slim chance of being green this year as well. If it is green, it's probably only going to be like 5% total by the time year ends. I hope that explains your question. Hype. Let's look at hype. And let's go up, up. And why isn't it there anymore? They got rid of my symbol. So now I need a new one. I never know which one to use because it's never great on here because it doesn't have everything. It's probably not the best, but oh, okay. Well, that's it. Why did it delete it? Okay. Okay. Yeah, I mean, not good. Looks like a distribution, and it's definitely bearish. Could get a bounce, but like really, we need to break that trend line to see any sort of anything. Let's see if we hit the golden pocket yet. It's below, so that's also not great. Typically, you'd want to see a bounce at that 7-1, and it didn't happen. And so now it's going to come retest the bottom of the golden pocket and likely head to the 786. 1350 becomes the best buying opportunity with very tight stop losses below. I don't see any bullish divergence here. This is clearly still just heading down. 4 hour. Slight bullish divergence on the 4 hour, so you could absolutely get a move back down or back up to the downtrend, which is here ish, like something like that. Come on, magnet, there we go. All right, so there's your downtrend, is somewhere around there. So could get a nice little trade back up to that, maybe, but I mean, it's not worth it to me. Like, I don't try for those in bear markets because you never know. It could just continue further down and you don't even get it. You can see how quickly price moved up to here from this base. So price can absolutely continue moving very fast back down to that base. This is absolutely not a buy at all. Palantir. That one was doing good for a while. I wonder how it's doing now. I bet you it's distributing. Yeah, okay. Well, as long as it holds the 1.272 here, it absolutely could make one more run for the 1.618. But let's see what the weekly looks like. Weekly's still bullish, and that's divergent. So I would say that's probably it. You can see the MACD's about to cross bearish here. And you have clear downward RSI and clear upward price action. So that's telling you that that's probably a top 9 times out of 10. So sometimes it happens like this though, where that's upward, that's clearly downward. So you get the move down and then it goes sideways for a while before it can move back up. And so at the very least, this is probably going to go sideways for some time if it's going to make that move up to the 1.618. If it crosses below $78 and closes a weekly candle below that level again, then yeah, you can be fairly confident that it's probably going to be, that's the top, that's it. How about Sonic? That one that everyone said we should buy a couple weeks ago, and I wasn't buying it. Let's go with that one, I guess. Yeah, yuck. Oh, I had one. Oh, you know what? I think I did the combination here. Did I do that? I don't remember if I added it to my watch list. Damn, I didn't. Okay, let's try this. Let's try plus Phantom. There's one left. Nope, I forgot how I did it, but I added them together somehow, but I forgot how. But yeah, it's definitely bearish. It's not worth anything at the moment to me. It needs a lot of work. Break the downtrend for one, which it's clearly well away from, before that's even considered a buy. Thanks. Could you analyze the real estate market in the US? Is now a good time to sell? I'm not going to suggest that. I can't legally. I will say that I had my father sell all of his properties about 8 months ago and move up here. and he's very happy that he made that decision, especially since all of his properties were in Florida, and he's able to comfortably retire now. Depending on how old you are, that's up to you. If you're 20 years old and you got real estate, no, I don't think it's a good idea to sell. You're going to hold through it for decades. If you're older and looking to retire, you're not you're selling what could be a top, maybe. Will it go higher again? Yeah, it's the housing market. So, all depends on your time horizon. If you're trying to flip houses, that's that's something I can't advise. So, take that for what it's worth. You can always take and look at the XLRE chart if you're, looking at that sort of thing. And let's see what we got. So we got a lower high. But I mean, this is a mostly upward chart since, 2015 when this came into existence. But, it's the housing market. It's the strongest market in America all the time. So it's not going to give you insane returns all the time, but certainly over the last 5 to 6 years, it's doubled. So, I don't know if you can complain about that. Do I think it'll come down? Yes, I do. I think that that's what precedes the major bearish markets that we get every 18 years. How much will it come down? I don't know. Interest rates are keeping things afloat because nobody wants to sell and get out of their 2% or less interest rate and buy something new that's 6 to 8%. So until that sort of changes, I don't know if there's going to be a lot of sellers, but I also don't think there's a lot of buyers. So we could just get a stagnant market for a while, which I think is what we've had for a couple months at the very least. And until we start seeing major economic things happening, employment and credit card debts and all that stuff, we're starting to see peak already and starting to move the other way. I don't know if we're going to see a significant change yet until probably 2026. And then maybe we'll have more certainty on that. What are the moons saying? Man, people are paying attention. I love it. So the moons are saying that we have a lunar eclipse coming in less than a week. And since this chart has not failed me yet, I'm going to stick with it. And so you can see, let me get rid of these and this. These green guys are the first total lunar eclipses of the season. And you can see how well it's marked the top of every single cycle Bitcoin has ever had. And then you see these orange guys, which is the last lunar eclipse of the season. And you can see that they have marked the bottoms of every single market Bitcoin has ever had. And so here we have our first total lunar eclipse happening in, I think it's the 13th, 14th, so less than a week, like a few days. And here we have the part of the cycle where I thought we would top. And I'm starting to see all the signs of topping. So until this doesn't work, I'm going to use it. When can we see the bottom of the bear market according to this? We can probably see that happening sometime in March of 2026, according to the last lunar eclipse in the cycle. Typically, at the halfway point, we get some sort of rally of some sort, and you got to go to the weekly chart or the daily chart to see it. But typically around the midpoint, which is the middle eclipse, you get some sort of rally that happens, right? So you can see that one, you have a rally there. You can see these two, this one didn't give it, but the second one did because there were 4 in this season. So there's that little rally. There's none in that season. So here's that rally there. So maybe around, let's see, September of this year, maybe August, we might get the first like little rally. And maybe that happens this time. I don't know. I use it more for the tops and the bottoms, less for that one. I just be careful with my shorts around the middle one. But yeah, I mean, I'm not like a weird astrology guy. I just kind of noticed this one day because I take pictures of celestial events. And I was just curious one day, like, hey, I wonder what happened. I have this big moon photo that I took on my wall right here. And I went back and looked to see like where was Bitcoin at that time because I wasn't buying it, and I was like, I wonder how much Bitcoin was when I was taking that photo because I was busy taking pictures of the moon instead of buying Bitcoin, and it was like 3,000. It was like right here when I took that photo, and I was like, damn, if only I bought Bitcoin instead of taking pictures of the moon. But you know, that was what turned me into making this chart, and so far it's been very helpful through all the cycles. What is the little yellow moon again? Oh yeah, little yellow moon is the mid one. It's just another total lunar eclipse. And sometimes you get 2, sometimes you get 4. This cycle had 3, this cycle had 3, and our current cycle has 3. And really what matters most is the first one and the last one. And for whatever reason, they just line up really well with Bitcoin cycles. I'm not saying that the moons cause Bitcoin's price to move. What I'm saying is that because of Bitcoin's 4-year cycles and because of the 4-year cyclical nature of these total eclipses, when Bitcoin was released, they just so happened to line up. I think it's a huge coincidence. I don't think it's actually causing it. But until it doesn't work, I'm going to use it. It's basically my strategy. So this isn't like a known chart indicator. It's pretty awesome. Yeah, I don't think anybody really talks about this. It was just something I stumbled upon. As well as the number of days. Like there's more stuff on here, right? Like you have the number of days, for instance, from the bottom to the tops, right? So if we mark the bottom of this cycle and measure how many days it took to get to the top, we got 742 days. So that's that green number, right? So it took 742 days from the bottom to the top here. 847 from the bottom to the top here, 847 from the bottom to the top there. And now we are at exactly 847 again from this bottom to this top, right here, right now, like it's right now. We're at the 847th day at this moment in time. So again, another thing that doesn't surprise me. Like that's the average time each cycle it takes to go from the bottom to the top. And then you have the bear markets, and I think that's the 1200 if I remember correctly. So from here to the bottom. No, what was the 1200? Oh, tops to tops, I think. Top. Yeah. So here it's 1400. Right? So from each cycle top to each cycle top, that's 1400 days. And then from this cycle top to this cycle top, and I consider this the top, by the way, the first hump in this one, that's 1200 days. So if we go from that top to this top, we got approximately 12, we've already passed 1200 from there. It's about 1400, right? And so depending on if you think that's the top or that's the top, well, it's 1400 from this top, and it's 1200 from this top. There you go, 1200. We're there now. So 1200, 1400, whichever one you want, it's already happened from each top progressively. So I don't see it. I think this is the top. And again, 85%. I could be wrong, unless there's some weird thing happening that I don't know about. In the same way fibs work because of human behavior, I think human behavior is for sure linked or influenced by celestial objects like the moon and the sun, the greater environment at large. Fun to think about. Absolutely, yeah. I mean, if the oceans and the whole world's moving because of the gravitational force of the moon, I'm sure it's tugging at our body and our cells in some shape or form, and the effects it has absolutely could be something of substance, yeah. Never seen the moon chart before. I can't believe it. I've been sharing this for years. I don't pull it out often because most of the time I get criticized for it. So, you know, but it does keep working. So I don't have any issues with people criticizing me for using something that works. So, all right. Any final thoughts, questions, chart requests? We got some typing. Let's see. It's surgically precise. It absolutely is. Yeah, it's crazy. If it's not broken, I don't fix it. I'll ask for GameStop. Gosh, that's freaking. It's a dying business, but you know, The moon chart is my favorite chart since you taught us about it. Thanks, Ninja. I appreciate it. All right, guys. Well, thank you all so much for coming, and I'll post the recording as well as my synopsis and summary in the Weekly Outlook channel. If you're looking to join the Discord, it is in the link below. Please like and subscribe. Thank you very much, and have a great week. Groot out.